fans are going to be able to welcome Harrison Barnes back tonight. Just
Yeah.
maybe you already got a chance to see him with San Antonio, but maybe with some of the things that you guys miss about him and just that he provided that maybe people don't realize.
Well, I mean, first of all, what a fantastic human being. I mean, big time person. He and his wife Brittany were staples in the community, He was great with everybody on our team, especially young guys, the ultimate professional. And then, he was consistent. You knew no matter what else was going on, you knew he was going to show up every single day and do his job to the best of his ability. So I wish nothing but the best for him and his family.
And Mike, we saw the frustration with your post-game stuff after Portland. I remember going back to training camp and preseason, you talked a lot about wanting to be the team that outworks everybody else and almost exhaust them just by doing the same thing over and over and over again. Is that still the focus, still the initiative, and how do you get the team, I guess, to buy into that on an 82 game basis, not just one night after another?
Well, that's the definition of what great is being all about. A lot of people can come up with, hey, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do this, you got to do that. But at the end of the day, if there's one common theme for people or teams or groups, whatever field you're in, if there's one common theme that is a characteristic of what helps them be great, it's consistency. Just the word consistency. And that means you have to do it on days when you're not feeling like doing it, when you're a little tired, when you're a little sick, when you're a little beat up. No matter who your opponent is, if there's 5 people in the stands, if there's 500,000 people in the stands, if it's a national TV game, if it's not, the level of consistency that you have to have in order to attain the level of being known as a great individual and or a great team is the thing that holds everybody back, because anybody and everybody can show flashes, because it's in every human, in my opinion. But the flashes aren't what substantiates it. And so for us, it's no different. We have a standard that we should achieve every single night, whether we miss shots, make shots, no matter who's in front of us, who's behind us. We have a standard, and every time we step on the floor, we should communicate. Open communication. We should play for one another. You can do that both offensively and defensively. You can also have each other's back off the floor too, but that at a high level is another staple. And then the last one is we should compete. So when we walk off that floor, if we can say, hey, we try to communicate, and sometimes that means I may go at you, but don't take it personal. I gotta accept it, and I gotta figure out how to help what you're telling me. And if I think you're wrong, maybe I got one shot to say, hey, this is what I was thinking, but then you gotta move on. Or it may mean, hey, great job. Maybe I don't know what it may, or hey, should I do this or should I do that? Whatever it is, we gotta be open with our communication and willing to accept it as a receiver and be willing to say what you need to say especially as a leader. And again, we gotta have each other's back, offensively, defensively. You can play for each other by setting the screen. You can play for each other by coming over and trapping the box early because you know somebody's gonna get beat. And then lastly, at the end of the day, you gotta compete. You can compete offensively by saying, we secured the rebound, I'm gonna beat my man down the floor every time. That's competing. Doesn't show up in the stat sheet, but that's competing. I'm gonna attack the offensive glass every single time. Whether I get it or not, that's competing. Defensively, you know what that's about. Even on the bench, you can compete. By every time there's a great play or every time your teammates need encouragement, you're standing up and you're letting them know it. So those 3 things are a standard that we have, and anything less than that, I shouldn't be the only one that says it's unacceptable. We all should. And that's how I felt after the game. Some people might say, you missed shots, you did this, you did that. We had 20 turnovers. And I'm telling you, 14 of them were unforced. And that's not competing, that's not playing for one another. And so that's what we have to make sure we're doing, especially if we want to be known as a great team or a good team over an 82 period. That can't change.
Mike, just how frustrating is it that that's what you're still dealing with? It's the basics, it's not competing on a nightly basis, it's not hitting your three-point shots or defending. It's the consistency that your team is lacking. And I mean, how many times can you preach the same message and not get the results from them?
Well, again, James, making threes or missing threes, that's, yeah, I want to make threes at 45%. I want to make them at 75, 100%, you know. But we have no control over that. The three things that I told you, we have ultimate control over that every single night. And that's part of what I get paid for. You know, I can't get tired of trying to coach or pass the message along to an individual or to a group at any time. Because then if I do, then I'm not doing my job. I'm not earning my paycheck. And that's what, starting with me, that's what coaching and coaching staffs are about, is to keep cleaning up stuff that you may have some slippage in. So I'm 100% okay doing it. I just hope that we as a group, starting with me, can be a little bit more consistent with our standards night in and night out while trying to go execute a game plan.
Coach Brown, Isaac Jones' productivity around the baskets, you know, getting offensive rebounds, getting the shots over to somebody like Gobert. What are your thoughts about his instincts about playing around the paint?
His instincts are really high, especially for a young guy that hadn't played, you know, at all. This is all new to him. And the thing we all have to keep, starting with me, we all have to keep telling ourselves is he's going to have some mistakes. And we're going to have to try to coach him through the mistakes while trying to have a little patience without it hurting the team or the group. And but you can see that the potential's there, especially at his length and his athleticism. And he does have a pretty good feel for a young guy. And so right now he's getting an opportunity. But how long is that opportunity going to last? I don't know. Anybody that gets an opportunity, they got to take advantage of it. And as long as you're trying to take advantage of it the right way, you'll probably continue getting it. But we don't have time to wait on many young guys in this situation. But I do like his potential and what he could bring to the table, if not sooner than later.
Mike, two things real quick. Is there have you guys decided on DeMar, whether he's gonna go tonight or not?
He's gonna play.
Okay.
Yeah.
Secondly, you've seen Victor, you know, a few times now over 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Just the length, how he stretches out, you know, vertically, horizontally. What kind of challenges does that present? Does it change anything in terms of, you know, the attack and what you guys want to do getting into the paint or not? And just how rare and unique have you ever seen really anything like that in terms of the size and the length?
No, I mean, you know, you see the size, you see the length, but with his skill set, you know, I've never seen anything like it. I remember way back in the day, one of the first guys with some length and skill, and it wasn't even close, but I remember when Brad Sellers was in the league, and everyone was like, oh my gosh, you know, he's 7'2" and he can do this and that. And it was amazing for the time. And that just shows you how far this game has gone. And, you know, now you got Wendy, who is, man, he does it like a guard, you know, which is absolutely amazing. But it doesn't change the way we play. We want to touch the paint. We want to spray it. It should heighten the awareness of our guys when we hit the paint. We challenged him a few times in our last game, and it wasn't successful. Now, we might have got the shot off, but it was a tough shot. So continuing to try to move the basketball, not only when you touch the paint, but also from side to side, while getting out in transition so he's not back and their defense is not set, is going to be huge. So we're telling our guys, you know, but the one thing I know that we can't do, and we did it in the last game, is we can't let him get comfortable from behind the 3-point line. I think his first 2 or 3 shots were uncontested. And from there, you know, he's like any player now. The bucket looks like it's the size of an ocean. And when teams feel that, they're hard to slow down no matter who's on the floor with them.
Hi, Coach. A few games ago, I think it was against Oklahoma here.
Yeah.
Before the game, you mentioned how there's a problem in entering the game in the first quarter. It seems like since then, the last 3 games, that problem ended, but it moved further down the line, more like the third quarter usually. Why do you think this pattern continues, and how do you think you guys can get out of it?
You know, the first thing is we're not going to score 30 points in every single quarter, every time we step on the floor. So we may have some lulls. In the Minnesota game, my memory's not great, but I know in the Minnesota game, I think in the third quarter we didn't score it well. But when I went back and watched the film, I'd take every single shot over again. I mean, Jordan had a wide open corner 3. Doug had a wide open corner 3. I think Jay had a wide. I mean, we even got to our spots. I think Fox got to the spots a couple of times and missed shots that he normally makes. So we have to keep shooting the ball if we're open, which we did in Minnesota, and eventually they're going to go in because that's what happened in the fourth quarter against Portland. It was easy. You go back and you watch the film. In the first quarter, we were 4 for 7 with sprays, and this is the part I normally get wrong. I think we had 8 assists or something, 6 assists. I don't know. The second quarter, we were 1 for 2 for sprays. The third quarter, we were 1 for 3, I think, in sprays, or 1 for 4. The fourth quarter, we were 6 for 8. So in the last 2 quarters, in each of those individual quarters, we had more sprays than the second and third quarter combined. Not only that, our assists were higher, so we made the game easier on ourselves starting the game to a certain degree because we still turned it over. We should have probably been up 10 or 12 at the end of the first, but we still tried to make the game easier on ourselves in that first quarter. And then we played with desperation in the fourth quarter, and that ball was moving, and we made the game easy then. And we can't go through lulls, you know, no matter who we play, of where we have 2 sprays in a quarter or 3 sprays in a quarter, because now we're not doing what I said, what our second standard was, playing for each other.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks,
Thank you all.
Thanks, Coach.